And the other news that we got this week for 2K18, nothing again like the developer blog, which was a huge info dump last week about My League, MyGM, and My League Online, but a couple of points here, a couple of interviews. Daily Star spoke to Eric Benish, of course, heading up the franchise team there, among other duties, of course, on the development team, which includes our good friend Leftos. Hello, Leftos. And he talked a little to Daily Star about some of the improvements to MyGM. Of course, the developer blog went into great detail, but just a couple of things that caught my eye, because it's sort of a standard interview, nothing too juicy that wasn't already said, but did describe the MyGM story as a, quote, light-hearted jaunt. So we're not going to get some kind of heavy story. It's not going to be Living to Dream, Ben. It's not going to be. There's no Vic. There's no friend of Freak dying tragically at the end of the story, which I think is for the best. You know, we don't necessarily need that in a basketball game, because even dark stories can come across as corny when done badly, or within the E10 rating sometimes can't go as dark as you want, and it ends up coming across as a bit corny. So I think a light-hearted story, I think that's a good way to go with it.
Yeah, and again, just as long as it's not absolutely corny and it allows us real branching in terms of, still us having no control in terms of how what the story outcome and all that stuff is. So fingers crossed with that. But
apparently we're going to have to choose sides at some point. So there will be some drama. There will be a complication, and every narrative needs a complication. So that's fair. Yeah. But maybe siding with the players against the owner, maybe something like that.
CBA agreement in terms of, when the new contracts come in, it's like, do you side with the players or do you side with the owners?
Do you do you pen a letter in Comic Sans if one of your players leaves? Or like is that a decision you have to make? Which side you have to take, the side of maturity or immaturity, or
do you side with Kobe, with LeBron, or do you side with Kyrie?
Yeah, I mean, are you going to be like Coach Brubaker in my career, where you just follow the my player around wherever he goes? He just goes to the new team. You're just going to go with the player wherever they go. I mean, it could be a decision to make. The other thing he mentions is that the story is going to continue every few games, so they're not going to be overwhelmed with heavy narrative decisions and cutscenes every single game. So I guess kind of like they handled my career in 2K17. So it sounds like a pretty good approach to MyGM, this new story-driven MyGM mode.
Yeah, hopefully it's not like every 10 games this scenario happens, every cutscene or scenario story, part of the story.
Some branching, yeah.
It seemed to be very meticulous in terms of 10 games, say in regards to something regarding sponsorship, 10 games regarding meeting other players kind of thing, 10 games.
Justice Young being in the trade block and everything, yeah. So it sort of hits it at the same time. I mean, we're probably going to see something like that, but it'll be different to play through, and I think this really distinguishes MyGM from My League now. MyGM was always more the RPG-driven mode, but now giving it the story just like they did with My Career, and separating it. And of course, it makes me once again say, well, hey, let's see that with My Career as well. Like, have that My League type experience where you can skip the story with the career mode and jump straight into it. And I'd like to, if you can do that, if you can jump straight into My League, into a My Career without a story. I'd like to be able to select from all the colleges, because obviously you wouldn't have to go through the college storyline then. Because I miss being a Tar Heel fan, as you are too. I miss being able to make my player from North Carolina.
Yeah, I chose Michigan and Georgetown the previous 2 years, and
I went Illinois just for the Bulls connection.
I really want to see the Tar Heels, obviously. That's for me, my obviously number one choice in that. So I'm hoping, that there's a couple more college options. And
they're limited with as far as the story, because they can only license certain ones for the story.
Yeah.
So again, if you can have the My Story and My Career just the same way you have My GM and My League, to throw out a couple of names there, a trademark. Pay me some VC for that one. Yeah, I would love to see that approach adopted by the career mode as well as it's been done by the franchise mode. And of course, Eric said that they're committed to having that franchise experience, which is fantastic. I'd love to see Live put more effort into Dynasty, as I've said last week, but it was a pretty solid interview in that respect. The other one, I don't know if you got a chance to listen to Dave DeFore does a podcast on the NBA with Dave DeFore. He actually got to talk to Chris Manning, LD2K, a little bit.
Okay.
And couldn't really go into a lot of detail. I mean, obviously he's the community manager and not a developer. He's there working, in the office, so he does know a thing or two. Couldn't answer a lot of questions. First of all, not being a developer or an engineer, and also, hands tied it to a certain extent by what he's allowed to talk about at the moment. Did say that defense was going to be a big point of emphasis on the gameplay improvements this year, so that's a really good sign. Fingers
crossed. I mean, it's one of the things we've heard a little bit about in previous years, so yeah, really a wait and see element for that for me, just as personally.
Definitely, but encouraging, obviously. My player archetypes, so we're going to be receiving some attention expansion. Very important. We've talked about how they're kind of limiting, and they went to eliminate cheese, but that kind of didn't really work out as well as they liked. And they
created more cheese and potentially
created some other problems. Good idea, but the execution could be a little bit better. Sounds like that's been worked on. Thumbs up again. And also, I didn't squash a rumor directly, but I did see a rumor posted in our forum about My Park being cut from the game, which I raised my eyebrows when I saw that, because I thought there's no way that they're going to get rid of My Park, because it is
the cash cow.
Yeah, and as L2K himself noted on the podcast when talking about My Park, that it is actually the most popular online mode in 2K. So I thought if anything they might revamp it, and we'll hear about that, I guess, in the coming weeks, whatever's happening with My Park. But he mentioned My Park being in the game, so just in case anyone hears that rumor about My Park being cut, as unlikely as it may seem, obviously, no, it's not going to happen. So, for what it's worth, we also got that rumor squashed indirectly, I suppose, and confirmation that it is actually the most popular mode. I mean, 2K ProAm is obviously pretty popular, and we like it, and esports league is being made out of it. But My Park is actually the most popular online mode.
That's a kind of surprise in a lot of ways, but I suppose in a way not. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we've played it. We've had some okay, enjoyable moments. We've also had moments where we haven't enjoyed it. So, I mean,
our players aren't really built for the park, I guess. They're built for Pro-Am, and especially my career more so than anything else. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's the fact that we haven't really tailored our play for my park. Although I think our gear looks pretty sweet these days.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, we actually match with our black outfits, black hoodie and my black Jordan Brand T-shirt. We sort of do look like
wearing a jacket. This is like a partially zipped up jacket.
Is that what it is? I thought it was like a zipped up hoodie kind of thing, but it's,
no, not a hoodie.
It is just a jacket. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the sort of training sort of shooting around.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we actually kind of match. And I think sometimes we got on there with ZZ Cool J, and he had black on as well, so we kind of matched.
That happened on the week. Yeah, so it made it easy to recognize.
We looked like a squad for once, So that's well, we're gonna have to do the same for live Pro-Am as well. With live team, we're gonna have to get some. It's just a shame we can't do the NLSC gear, I guess, for that.
That'd be fun to have.
Imagine if we could take NLSC gear into the park. That'd be great. Like if we could, even if it was something you had to unlock or pay a lot of VC for, because I'm always left over with some VC. So if we could wear our Pro-Am jerseys into the, if you're on a Pro-Am squad, being able to wear the Pro-Am jersey and squad up, that'd be really cool, I reckon.
For sure.
For the park, you instead of being like that guy who went there dressed as Jordan, as Michael Jordan, we go there dressed as ourselves from Pro-Am. That's that'd be pretty cool.
Especially with our actual jerseys that are actually getting made. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Which you can check out in the forum, of course, and on Twitter we've been promoting that. Or even just the team that you're with in my career, if you could wear that jersey into My Park, which I don't think you can do yet You can wear. Can you do that? I know you can obviously buy like I'm on the Bulls at the moment, so I can buy a Jordan jersey and walk in to the park.
Not 100% sure.
If you unlock your high school jersey, you can wear that. That's an unlockable
Okay.
reward. If you the Knights jersey, is it Lower Valley Knights, the high school team in the story?
Oh, I can't remember, to be honest.
I want to say it is, but you can actually unlock that in the story and then wear. That's my park gear that you can wear actually. That's for if you complete the Mitchell and Ness. I think that's you unlock that.
All right.
But you don't actually have your NBA jersey. So anyway, that'd be some stuff for Park, obviously. Yeah, so a little bit of information on 2K18 this week. Nothing as earth-shattering as last week, obviously, but again, it's nice just to see that kind of steady trickle of information, Ben. It was said, I wrote the article, and then the next day the screenshots came out, so taking credit for it, obviously. Why not claim it? But yeah, it's great that we haven't had to wait till late August to get a really big hit of information, and that once that first information came out, that it hasn't been gone quiet again. No more radio silence. Hopefully, the rest of the way. Demo coming out next week for Live 18, and more news for both games, presumably. So we're finally getting a preview season. It's nice, especially since the NBA off season is kind of quiet. There's all those transactions are done, so we have nothing to talk about there.
Yeah, I think it was really like the first 4 days to like a week there was something to sort of talk about in regards to that, but now it's like, give us something.
Nothing really going on there, but
yeah.
A couple of things which we'll get to later on. But obviously our core content is basketball video games, NBA Live and NBA 2K in particular. So yeah, it's nice to have that.